Big Boys
Big
neighborhood.
boy.
All right. In the neighborhood right now, Jay Williams. Jay, how are
Yes,
you?
Jay.
I'm good.
Good.
I gotta tell you that the first girl I ever had a crush on, her name was Natalia.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Now you got her hyped
I know.
up.
Right, look at her.
Aw.
saying it, bro.
That's because there's not a lot of
I'm
Natalias
married,
out
though. I was
there.
like, oh, no, Natalia. Oh, slow down. Calm down.
You're the only Natalia I know.
Oh, nice. When was this crush, though?
It was like second grade.
Oh, that is adorable.
First one, you know?
Yeah, that was before everything
never
happened
forget her.
Yep.
in your life.
Before I just became a bad person and then became a good person.
No, you were no.
It's called a process. It's okay.
Yeah, it was a journey,
Evolution.
and so much to talk to you about. I'm a big fan, but a former NBA player, second picked in the NBA draft, played with the Bulls, played for Duke, Coach
Yep.
K, love that, won a championship. You did have a motorcycle accident that changed your journey in life, and I really love the way that you have spoken about that journey in the past, and we'll get to that. But currently with ESPN as an analysis, best-selling author, and now
Entertaining,
is it
bro.
executive producer of the YouTube?
All the above, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's
mentor,
whatever Mav and LeBron want me to play. That's what I usually listen to those two.
best shot on YouTube. This is that new, this isn't just the normal YouTube series that's out there. This is like the exclusive one, right? So
Yeah.
it's like more rich content that they're putting out.
Yep, and we work with the NBA on their YouTube channel, so they dropped the first 2 episodes today, and then we're going to be releasing each one per week.
Per week.
Per week, which is really cool. This whole thing has just changed my life in this way because my mom is an educator. I very much feel like I'm in the trenches, but not as much as I should be. I always feel like I can do more. But you know when you talk to people about what you're doing in your community, and everybody kind of has this passive saying where it's almost like they treat it like white noise. Well, I do this, or I give here, or I do that. I think having multiple days per week, 3 days per week, while I'm balancing my job, while I'm balancing my wife who's pregnant, and family issues, where you're in the trenches with some of these foot soldiers, and you get a chance to see how some of these kids, it's all about decisions that they have to make at a young age. And obviously my own decision to get into I didn't make a decision to get into an accident, but obviously that led to inevitably me getting into an accident that changed my life. How do you help scope the narrative of these younger minds? And when you got kids who are 17 years old who don't have a mom or dad around, they're living by themselves and they're paying their own rent and they're still going to school. When you got kids who, one kid just lost his dad, on a road trip. Another kid got put in jail because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Wow.
And that's something that's going to file his resume for the rest of his life. How do you combat that? How do you use those narratives to empower you instead of becoming victim to it, which is easy for people to do? We see it every single day.
How did this series come to you? Were you already working with the high schoolers at Central High School?
No.
Or
I do stuff in the community all the time. It kind of came out of thin air. I've known Maverick since I've been a little kid. We played 5-star basketball together. And I randomly got a call from him and his team about, we have this project that we're doing. We think you'll be a great fit. I start asking questions right away. I'm like, well, who's going to direct it? And they're like, well, that's going to be Michael John Warren. I'm like, oh, the guy that did Fade to Black by Jay-Z? Okay, cool. Like, is LeBron going to be in it? Is he going to be active? Yes, LeBron's not going to BS. He's going to be involved. He's going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, let's figure out what that is.
Yeah.
And then they randomly found Central High School in Newark, New Jersey, which is about 20 minutes away from where I live in Brooklyn. And that's how it got popped off.
And you grew up in New Jersey as well.
I did.
So you know where these kids are coming from. You know their stories a bit more than someone, maybe who grew up in Illinois or something like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't matter to me where these kids are. They're all facing, we can do it in South Central LA. We can go to Detroit. We can go to Pennsylvania. We can go anywhere across the country. It's all the same socioeconomic issues across the board. The stories may be a tad bit different or the variables may be off, but you're still dealing with the same thing. You're still dealing with the same everyday struggle. So one of the things I love about my life and the way I was raised to be empathetic towards complexities because we're all complex individuals. So the more I talk about my own complexities and my issues in dealing with my vulnerability and some of the things I had to deal with in my life, naturally, I think that opens the door for other kids to start talking about their stuff.
Yeah.
So some of the things that we were able to see on this journey together for 4.5, 5 months was riveting. So when you watch this isn't like one of those, let me go into Netflix and see this plotted twist where the storyline is written out. Like you're watching this real shit unfold in front of your eyes and watching how these kids deal with it on the fly.
Now, when people say, oh yeah, I have like this camp and some, there's players every now and then you see them show up, they might sign a check and they're like, peace, they're out. But you're at the practices. You're not just at a game. You're not just there one time giving them a speech. You're there giving them drills.
Well, just not that. I mean, I'm also kicking it with them at my house. I'm also seeing their family, meeting their family members, seeing where they hang out on the street after the session's over. First off, I'm from pockets of the area like that. So it's really funny, when you get successful or when you get out, you don't have a lot of guys that come back and really immerse themselves in being back and then making foundational change, right? So I get it. Guys have different lives. And I applaud all the guys that come back and they do camps because they still are giving back in a way.
They are.
But this is like, no, I just don't want to get back on my time. I want to give you my intellectual property. I want you to have that. I want you to utilize that and leverage that. So spending time with them, like that's where it goes to a different level because you recognize all of a sudden I'm getting, 13, 15 different texts because everybody got a different struggle. And it's not like when you just come back and do a camp, you're like, hey, what's up? I'm here. Then I'm gone. Even though you might help by giving money, but giving your time and your energy and your mind, that's important.
What did they teach you?
They taught me more about fight. They taught me more about resilience. We had one of these kids who's like my little brother. His name is Hadi. And, Hadi got in trouble for some grades, got kicked off the team for a while. And it's really funny, I'm about to bring a child into this world. And so thank you. And knock on wood, everything goes well with labor and everything for my wife. But it's like, oh, these are the kind of questions. Because I feel like when we have questions, like you can talk yourself through something. Well, you start asking these kids, well, why did you not become eligible this season? I don't know. Why do you not know? Well, I never thought about it. Why are you not thinking about it?
That's true, man.
Like, so you start asking those probing questions and you start talking about, okay, this is your formative years. Like, I want you to start processing some of these decisions that you have made that you're not even spending time to reflect on. You're just moving. Then when you start seeing, like, one of these kids, Kareem, we were just literally walking down the street in North Carolina and we were talking about the hustle, right? And he was saying, well, like I used to sell drugs and shit, and I used to do that stuff all the time, and I don't know if I want that to be my life. I'm like, all right, so what did you sell? And he started talking about it. I'm like, all right, so you're really good with numbers, right? Like you can map out people, and you're really good too at going up to, do I want to sell to you or do I not want to sell to you? Like, what's your vibe? What kind of energy you get off as people, right? I'm like, why can't you take those same skills and make that applicable to business in sales? So if I hit you to another game where you're still utilizing numbers, but there are no repercussions of you being put in jail, and you can still make money and potentially own your own business one day. He's like, well, how can I own my own business? I'm like, I own my own business. I look and I'm just like you, right? So he's like, I never thought about it that way. So once again, probing, pushing them to think outside the box.
You really, I mean, there was a scene where you wrote all of them letters that I thought was so, I didn't expect that. I mean, I already saw that you were putting in time and effort and you wanted to be there and you were giving them great advice, but the individual letters, I think, impacted them so much. I don't know when the last time someone wrote them a letter like that maybe wasn't a girl in school, especially now with texting.
Or DM. That's a DM now. It's not a letter no more.
So I thought that was really dope.
It was different. My thing is the first couple of times I'm around, I didn't really say a lot. I just wanted to assess. I wanted to see how they interacted with the coach, how they interacted with me, how some were maybe into the glitz, into the fame of what they thought I brought to the table as opposed to who I really was. And then after, for a month, it's like, oh, okay. I see all y'all. Like I see, and I paid attention and I wrote notes to myself about who you are and about where I think you want to go or what you preach to me about where you want to go, but you ain't really trying to get there. You're just preaching to me to preach. So being able to write to them and say, I see you and I recognize that these may be things that you say you want to do, but I'm going to give you the blueprint on how you do it and how you get there. And then I'm going to have follow-up conversations with you. And then obviously Coach McCray, who is the real, hero and the real star in this whole thing because he's there. But you recognize that everybody has ways to tap into how to get in touch with somebody through a different prism. So we may be saying the same thing, but you saying it differently from a woman's perspective may grab the attention of my daughter. So I'm like, okay, Amelia, I need you to spend some time with Natalia because she understands you differently than I understand it, even though we're saying the same thing. And that's what we're trying to build, that sense of community.
What do you hope people take away from this series?
That we all need to do more. And that we get lost in the own matrix of our own BS. And it's easy for me because I sit there and, it took time for me to reflect, right? I got a kid on the way. I got a job. I'm trying to move up the ladder. I'm trying to be an executive producer. I'm trying to also host content. I'm trying to build out my empower. And then I say, damn, I need to do more over here. Like I'm putting so much of my energy and my effort into all this stuff that is evolving around me. I need to start thinking about who's next. Like how do I empower the next young black man's voice or young next Latina's voice to be powerful and to think that they can do something. Like, the conversation I would have with some of these kids, I was talking to one kid said, well, you kind of sound white. I'm like, you mean I sound educated?
Wow.
Like that's a problem that you're conflating white or being Caucasian with being educated, right? Like, so now when I see things like Diddy talking about black excellence, I'm like, thank you. Like you can be this way and you're not an Uncle Tom for sounding the way I sound. You know, when LeBron and Mav have their own business, have their own production companies, yes, you should own businesses. You should think about leveraging your brand. When you hear B and Hove talk about, I don't need a check, I want equity. Yes, own equity. Change the dynamic of the game. So when you come into a room and somebody talks to you, yeah, you can have your pants a little bit down. You can have swag and wear my Komodo shirt right now. But I can also talk to you about taking my Series 6. I can also talk to you about building the foundational principles of a business. Like that's powerful.
Did you know all this when you had signed your check and you went into the NBA in that first year, your rookie season?
I knew a lot of it because my dad worked for Amex and we talked about business, but still I had to deal with my ego. And my ego for me at that time was my own worst enemy. Because I don't care what anybody says, all of a sudden it's relative. So you get money in your pocket, things change. Things change around you and things change inside of you. So the same way somebody could say, oh, if I made $1 million, I wouldn't do that with my money. Oh, okay. So when you get a check for $500, and you made $200 more than what you made last quarter, and there are a pair of new Jordans out, and those Jordans cost, $175, $200. Okay, cool. You just spent close to, 35, 40% of your check on a pair of Jordans. Great. You make $1 million. And all of a sudden, you're deemed as somebody, and you may not even be somebody to everybody else, but people tell you that you're somebody. All of a sudden, that $1,000 plane ticket for first class, I can't travel commercially anymore. I got to travel with me and my family because now we all made it. Everybody that helped me get here, we all made it. So now I want to get that G4. Now I want to get that G7. Cost you $175,000, but it's relative when you make $1 million a year, right? So think about how that kind of mindset and those conversations where it's applicable to how they live. That's where you start changing the narrative.
Right now, we are talking about Best Shot, the YouTube series on the NBA channel. You can go watch it. You need to actually go watch it. It's really, really great. Jay Williams, you're a huge part of this, but you knew what it was like to be a high school student, a basketball player, go into playing college ball. You played for Duke, and then from there, you won a championship. You were with Coach K, and then you went to the NBA. And I feel like some people, so much time has passed that some people don't know your story.
You're saying I'm old?
No.
That's cool. No, that's cool. I am. I'm getting there.
What I'm saying is you have built something. You have built something and have had this really amazing journey that has very low lows and very high highs. But people can learn from your journey as well and the things that you've gone through. And seeing you come out on the other side it's inspiring, really. It is. But do you find that now people don't know that you had that accident?
Yeah, I get a lot of people that talk to me that come up to me and say, oh, I really appreciate what you're doing, or I saw you on ESPN and you were doing your thing. And that's why I want to, so many times people suppress things that have happened to them in their lives, and you try to corner it, put it in a bag, put it in a deep area in your soul, and you try to move forward. Well, for me, one of the best tricks of life that I was able to learn on my journey is that instead of suppressing that, like I'm going to explode about that. I'm going to empower other people to talk about their vulnerabilities or their challenges that they've faced in their lives to use to empower them to uplift or do more. Yes, it's almost like 8 Mile and Eminem where he gets up on the stage, right? He's like, yeah, you did sleep with my girl. Like, yeah, my mom did it. Like, yeah, I'm owning my entire story because guess what? Everybody's story's messed up. Like, ain't nobody has this perfect life out here. Everybody has challenges, whether everybody's had an accident or some form or fashion, whether you lose somebody, whether you lose a job. How do you handle adversity? So to be able to pivot off that and then use that to showcase that in real footage, like the way John shot this, like 3 days a week for 4 months, like we were we have hours and hours and hours of footage, right? And nothing was like kind of propped. It was just, it's like you're seeing everything unfold naturally in front of your eyes. So you're capturing the real moments, and you get a chance to see the kids we have one kid on our team, and his name is Quan. I told him, like, yo, I ain't calling you Quan. I'm calling you Shaquan. All right. Where he's like 15, 16 years old, and he's, obviously got put in jail for something that, we didn't really know if he did or not. I believe him that he didn't do it, but he's in a car, and you're watching him look off, and two things really struck me. Number one, he's like, I just want to get out. Like, I want to go to Miami. I want to go to LA. I'm like, yo, you ain't never been out of Newark. Like, Jersey's called the Garden State. Like, I want to take you to other parts of Jersey so you can see grass and fields, and you're not thinking that this is not the norm. And then he's like, well, my brother's in jail. My dad ain't never been around. It all falls on me. Like, I got to get and you see multiple people throughout this journey who love him. It was like, yo, it's your job to get us out.
Yeah, his aunt.
It's your job to get us out. So think about the pressure that this 15, 16-year-old kid got.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get y'all out. I'm just trying to get me out.
Me out, yeah.
You don't even know where you're getting you out to, right? So to be able to showcase that, like that within itself, it's almost like the movie Inception. Like, that's a small seed. And think about how that unravels into the rest of your life.
Do you see any of these players being able to play college ball?
I do. It depends on what level of college ball you're talking about. But my thing is too, like, somebody said to me, well, you didn't come back and play 10 years in the NBA. So, I don't know if I would really call that a success story. And I'm like, well, damn, that's sad that your level of success needs to be this extreme. So, yeah, can they play college ball? Yes, on a multitude of levels. D3, D2, college, junior college. You're not deemed success by just being a D1 player. Like, if you're getting a scholarship to go to a D3 school and you're the first family member in your unit to go to college and you're getting a degree by using basketball to empower yourself to actually run a business, that's success. Like, why do we need success to be everything social media success?
The highlight reel.
Yeah, like, I'll take a picture. Like, one of the guys like, oh, I'm going to take a picture with this car, blah, blah. I'm like, but that car is not yours, dog. I said, why are you showcasing for somebody else? Like, showcase somebody on how do you get that?
Yeah.
Like, that's the power.
I know that there was some talks, Adam Silver was talking about the one and done. Are you in favor of the one and done? Do you think that most players should do, like, because you did 4 years
You're
and
about
you
to open
graduated.
up a can right now. You're about to open up a can on me.
I'm
right
ready.
now.
I want to know what your perspective is.
My perspective is that the two sports that are predominantly diverse and African American are the ones that are held captive to the ones that, you can't leave when you have to leave. So you don't say that in tennis. You don't say that in soccer. You don't say that in baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to leave? Go leave when you want to leave. But you have the entity of the NCAA that's making billions of dollars off the backs of these kids. And all of a sudden I'm supposed to say, well, my education, that's good enough. Well, that's if my coach is actually pushing me to get an education. So my thing is 1 and done, 2 and done, 3 and done. You should be able to leave whenever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, when I watch coaches make $7-8 million a year, and then the coaches don't have any overhead, the coaches are able to use donor planes to travel them and their families around. The coaches are able to have 501c3s where they funnel money to the rest of their family members based off the school and do camps and make hundreds of thousands of dollars, get endorsements. And then I see the kid who's not able to get a cheeseburger by an agent, or you're deemed ineligible. Or then I see a coach who cheats, because we all know everybody cheats, right? It's not cheating. Well, do you call cheating on your taxes when you find a loophole? It's not cheating. It's just called business as usual.
Yeah.
So then the coach can get fired. And then 3 years later, the coach gets another multi-million-dollar job. But then the kid, he's deemed ineligible for the rest of his life. He can't play anymore. So that brings up some foundational institutional issues that I have a major problem with, especially when most of the kids are Black and Latino.
They are, yeah. How long has the one and done rule been around? Because I know LeBron went right at 18.
Right at 18. It's been on and off.
Okay.
Over the last couple of years, it's been on. And Adam Silver is very progressive with the way he thinks. And I like the fact that he's like, this is an NBA issue. We're going to take control of that. So if they can, say, or even if you allow kids to go overseas or allow kids to go, which they can do, by the way, but it's tough for them to, you're asking a kid who's 16 years old, yeah, you can go make $1 million overseas, but you're leaving your mom.
Yeah.
You're going to leave your mom back in the streets where she's at.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to leave my mom's side. I'm trying to bring my mom with me. I want her to be a part of this. So yeah, you can probably go to the G League now, and they're going to increase the minimum amount of money you can make at the G League so you can become a pro. But my thing is, kids should be able to leave whenever they want to leave. Have that option.
Jay, I just want to talk to you, man. What do you think about these sports programs in high school?
And what makes a coach a good coach?
Well, I think high school is so much about you always have to deal with family members, which I think sometimes we look over because everybody, think about it, everybody wants the best for their kid. But I think one of the biggest things about at the high school level is that, how do you make it inclusive for everybody? Like, how do you make this a learning experience for everybody on the team? And everybody has a different background. But the one beautiful thing I can say about sports, I'm the only child. And every time I played on a team, those dudes become your brothers. They become your kin. And that relationship extends for a long time in life. So if you have somebody that's able to teach you that, yes, this game is important, but the principles of this game are applicable to the rest of your life in a way that if you want to be successful at anything, this foundation right now that you're learning is conducive to you being successful later. So about discipline, it's like, I told that story about Kobe that really resonated with me.
Love that story.
You play the Lakers, you come to the Staples Center, you're playing the championship Lakers when Kobe and Shaq are on the same team. I'm a rookie, and I get to the gym. The game's at 7. I get to the gym at 3. And before I step on the court, I look down to the other end of the court, and I see Kobe, grinding, working out, going after it in a dead sweat, right? And then, okay, that motivates me for my workout. So I get my workout in for an hour and a half, and then when I sit down, I look at the other end, this dude's still going at the same pace he was going an hour and a half when I first walked in the gym. I'm like, damn, Kobe, what? And then I watch for another 20 minutes. And then he's done. And then after the game, he destroys us. And after the game, now I'm curious. You have my attention. Why? So I go up to him, Kobe, why did you work out? He's like, because I saw you work out. And I want you to know that regardless of how hard you work, I'm going to outwork you.
Wow.
So thank you for making me better. So if you could bring that kind of mindset to the table, think about how that just, same way your job, you got to put in reps. You got to put in the time. You got to do that gritty work that other people aren't willing to do to gain that experience, and then talk about that experience, and then be vulnerable with yourself in front of the rest of the public's eyes through a microphone. How do you convey that message better? So these are all the principles and the smaller nuances that we start talking about at that age when you're 15, 16, 17. So you start thinking about that stuff for later.
What kind of coach will you be with your kids?
Oh, God. I'm gonna be a local one. I'm gonna be crazy. I'm having a girl, so I'm trying to prepare myself. This is new territory for me.
Yes, it is.
So I'm gonna be asking y'all questions about how I need to deal with that. I think about that all the time. I think the biggest thing I can be for my daughter is I just need to be honest with her.
Yes.
And I need to talk her through, here are the repercussions of your actions, and it's my job to surround you with a tribe to help you make the best decision possible. But at the end of the day, baby, that's going to be your decision that you're going to have to make when you get older. And if you decide to make a decision that has negative repercussions, we're going to have to work through that. But as long as you know that we're putting your best interests, that I want it to be, instead of just a one-sided conversation, I want it to be a two ways. Yes, I want it to be 2 ways. Because I want her to have input in how we go about it, and I want to learn about what they're going through.
Does your wife like sports? I mean, you would think she has to, right?
Yeah, she plays soccer at Louisville. She's big into footy. She does not like football. She refuses to participate in football because of CTE and all this other stuff. But yeah, she's big into those same things too, about those foundational lessons.
And what is she gonna want to put her daughter in sports? Have you guys already talked about that?
It's like, if anything, I gotta calm my wife down, because my wife is like, oh, she's gonna play sports. And my wife is Lebanese too, so my wife, was born and raised in Indiana, and those have been conversations that we've had too. She's like, oh well, I'm gonna have my girl around all ethnicities, like all that. Socioeconomic, difference of backgrounds, because that's important to her. And one of the things that we talk about for her is like, she's Lebanese, but she looks white, and then people will say, it happened at, I think at was it Southwest? I'm not sure the airline, so I don't want to put Southwest out there. It was an airline that it was a biracial family, and the kid was black and the mother was white, and they didn't let the kid and the mother on the plane together.
Yeah, they asked for a ticket and proof of without the birth certificate, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they didn't believe her. So we're talking about, how do you deal with that, or how do you deal with looks? We went to a baby shower, and naturally we asked for baby books, and all the baby books we got, all the kids on the book were white. And you're like, well, wait a second. That's not how our kid is going to look.
Yeah.
So how do we showcase how our kid is going to look, and then show them in positions of, yes, you can achieve things. So if you're getting a kiddie book where, a Latino girl has become a doctor, And all of a sudden, I want my girl to look up like, yeah, okay, Latina girl's a doctor. They can be doctors. We can be doctors. We can be cops. We can be anything we want.
People forget that even at that young age, when you see someone that looks like you, that when you look in the mirror, if they're a reflection of that, it empowers you. Mm-hmm. It really, really does.
I heard a TED Talk the other day where this woman, and she was from Miami, and she was Honduras. She was from Honduras, and she pretty much said, my whole life I got taught that I shouldn't speak with an accent because I wasn't going to assimilate. And you're like, well, wait a second. Like, so now we're trying to assimilate you, and we're changing the way you speak. Now, I get it if you want to enunciate something better, but you can still enunciate something with your accent.
Yeah.
Like, that's a part of your culture. Why are we trying to remove people from that's the thing that makes this world great. Like, our country great. Like, accepting, I wish that's another conversation, but, to be inclusive and to say that it doesn't matter how you, like, if you're a good person, you're a good person. I don't care what color you are, what creed you are. If you're a bad person, get away.
It shouldn't matter.
You're good. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. LeBron James, he is working with you on this YouTube series, Best Shot. But did LeBron James make the right decision when he chose to come to LA?
Yeah, because LeBron James made the right decision for LeBron James.
Ah, okay. You're going.
Here's why. So there is obviously this force within inside of him that he wants to supersede the game. Right? And what I mean by that is we know who his personality is. Like, he's always going to want to win. He always wants to win. But how do you do something with bigger impact? And I don't think LeBron has ever thought small. So I think coming here to LA, and then people say, it's funny watching fans. Well, we're not calling him the king, and it's Kobe's team, and like, he's not worried. Like, I ain't worried about that. Like, he's gonna make this his team for the time that he's here. And if you want to be great at something, the only way I know how to be great is to surround myself with other great people. So now all of a sudden, think about how the board for LeBron James has changed drastically within the basketball environment. Kobe's in your backyard. That's a relationship. Greatness compares to greatness. You elevate when those two are together to learn from each other. LeBron and Magic Johnson are together. That's an incredible pairing. Jenny Buss, LeBron are together. Business-wise, for where he wants to be, the stories he wants to tell, he can tell them better through the lens of being here in Los Angeles. And that's Showtime 2.0.
Hey.
Come on. Like, it's always going to be like, oh, why don't you go there? And no, like, LeBron needs to do what LeBron wants to do. And that's how he should live his life.
Do you like when people use the phrase the GOAT? Like, when it'll be like Steph Curry, the GOAT, or Kobe. Like, the GOAT can be for so many people, but do you like when people say the GOAT?
Yeah, of course I play into it because I know it's you have to understand what are trigger points for people to get them involved in conversations. Yeah. I've been on the record multiple times saying LeBron is the GOAT. I think LeBron could beat Michael Jordan in a one-on-one game because Michael ain't never played against somebody 6'9", 260 who can move like a PG and just back him down. But, I call LeBron James a GOAT for a different reason. Like, and this is no disrespect because I don't know all the things that people have done in order to give back. But you can't tell me this dude is not the GOAT in the way he gives back to his community.
He does.
He reps for his city all the time. And the difference between any other big-time free agent signing here and LeBron, you already see what he's always trying to do in the community, bringing different businesses to the community. I think that's where him and Magic align. Over the last couple of years, he's given $41 million to kids' tuitions so they can go to school and have an education. When I see somebody overstepping their boundaries and using their platform to speak up about things that actually matter and lend their voice to causes, that is a GOAT. And doesn't care about the repercussions, doesn't care about how this affects my bank account because he's already surpassed that.
Yeah.
He's beyond that. That's a GOAT mentality to me.
Does it anger you when there are people in certain positions that say, shut up and play?
Yeah, it makes me livid. And those are the people that I want to open a door to have conversations with those type of people because those are the same people that on their social media channels, they're complaining or bitching about something else. But nobody tells them, well, just do your job. Will you be a janitor? Or, you just be an executive or you just be a radio host. No, if you have your platform, that's what the platform is there for you to speak up. And I think we've lost this ability to respectfully have dialogue with one another. Like now, in this age that we live in, it's about let me raise the decibel level of my voice and yell at you because that's how I get attention. It's not like, oh, let me actually thoroughly talk you through why I think the way I think and then hear what you have to say and then hear what you have to say and say, oh, okay, now I can formulate a better opinion.
Yeah.
Like now I've just evolved. by accepting knowledge because everybody can learn something from somebody.
Lou, I know we wanted to talk about this recent
my
trade that
God.
just
You're
happened.
Kawhi?
Jay,
You're going to
we
Kawhi
have
right
to go
now.
to
You're going
Kawhi,
to
man. Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green in Toronto.
Kawhi,
for,
are you doing this?
DeMar DeRozan and the protected 2019 first round pick. Man, whoa, what are your thoughts on this trade, man? And do you think the Spurs handled this correctly?
Yes,
First of all.
I did. I think I would not have handled the situation the way Kawhi has handled it.
Yeah.
And we could break down the nuances of the way I disagree with some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall scheme is that things are changing in the league. It's a new world. Teams are no longer dictating what they want the players to do. It's spun. The players are dictating what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a LeBron James saying, you know what, I'm going to sign a 2-year deal, 3rd year, my option, and a team trying to refute that, nope, not going to sign then. It's going to be my option. So for Kawhi, he got traded to Toronto. Now I like the move for the Spurs because they couldn't find that balance with him.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm Toronto, I'm worried right now because just because Kawhi got traded doesn't mean that he has to play. I tell you, I mean, if I were Kawhi and I didn't want to play for Toronto because I want to be here in LA, I want to be a Laker, which he's made mention of. He's from here, right? My man was even saying, I'll go to the Clippers if it means I could be in LA.
Damn.
Right? Like, my thing is after that, I was like, all right, well, I just, practice, my pinky just really got messed up. I can't hold on to the ball. I'm going to have to sit out, boo-boo.
Do you think that's what happened?
Cough.
And you're going to still pay me my $25 million.
Do you think that's what happened with the Spurs last year where he actually could have came back?
Oh, he could have came back. Yeah, but I think also, the Isaiah Thomas thing really blew a lot of people's minds to how the business works. Because I get where fans go. Fans go, oh, you a chump, man. Come on, you out here making that kind of money and you ain't going to play in. Like, you're not committed to our team. Well, get out of here then. And I'm like, all right, well, that dude makes $25 million a year. Well, how much is the team making?
Yeah,
we keep focusing on the player. Like, if the team is paying the player $25 million a year, how much is that team making?
Yeah.
Like, so if these players aspire to be the owner of a team one day, like, and then I see Isaiah Thomas where this dude played through multiple injuries for the Celtics, right? Came back, played. Hip injury, played. Lost his sister who died, played through it, and then got traded. Just, okay, well, no, it's not going to work out.
Right.
Got traded and then went to Cleveland. That didn't work out because he's still coming back off injury, trying to win a championship, playing with LeBron where expectations are crazy high. Then got traded again to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Now he's playing with a younger team. Then he's going somewhere else. Now, it's like now he's just signed a $2 million deal for a year. And this dude went from making $140 million potentially to making $2 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm Kawhi, y'all can say whatever y'all want. If I don't feel like I'm 100% ready, which I think he's ready, but still if he doesn't feel ready, I don't need to play. Why? My money's guaranteed.
For those who don't know, because a lot of this basketball IQ, the one that you have, like, how did the Spurs manage to do this? So who had this saying on that him wanting to go to Toronto? Is that the Spurs organization that said it?
The Spurs
And
did.
what does Kawhi have?
He has no say in the
He
matter.
has no say in whatsoever. Why though?
Well, because it's the team option. So he's not a free agent yet. He will be a
Gotcha.
free agent in 2019. So right now the team has the ability to move him. If the Spurs, and everybody's like, well, Spurs should trade him to the West. If I'm the Spurs and I'm smart, why the hell am I trading him to the West?
Why am I helping him out?
Why am I helping out my opponents? I'm not trying to compete against this dude. I'm going to send him east and let me make sure I get something in return for that. So, everyone's like, oh, the Lakers need to get him. Well, when you look up what the Lakers had to give up, you're going to give up Kyle Kuzma. I mean, I don't know if I want to give up Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram. I like that young core. And I want to save those tradable assets potentially for the 2019 class. If I want to use those to get a Jimmy Butler, to get a Kyrie Irving, to get a Klay Thompson, to get a Kawhi. I want to go after those, and I need those assets. So it was a smart move for them because they got DeMar DeRozan, which I think kind of fits into the way the Spurs play. It's just crazy when you think about the Spurs, though, because they're the epitome of a perfect organization.
Yeah.
Like, they don't do anything but win out there in San Antonio, and they never have drama. And for Pop to go through what he went through, losing his wife this past year, and still lead this team to the record that they have with the personnel they have, like, that's impressive. That's a hell of a place to be. So it's sad that Kawhi couldn't find common ground, but that's the way business works.
Do you see the Lakers picking him up at the end of the next season?
I think,
or is there going to be more options, like you said, Klay Thompson, the Butlers?
I think there's going to be a lot more options. I think this is the year of the campaign for Magic and Rob Pelinka and LeBron. Do I think the Lakers can make the playoffs? Yes, but I'm more focused right now on showcasing all the things that we have done within a year of them coming into management for this team, the whole narrative around the Lakers have changed. Do you know how much I've talked about the Lakers this year? I'm like, finally, we're talking about y'all again all the time. But that's the way it used to be.
Yeah, man.
And for a good reason, not about
Dynasty.
Kobe retiring or is Kobe doing harm to the Lakers or what's happening here in LA with the Clippers. It's like we're talking about the Lakers moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to see a lot more of that this year. And then I think next year is when the real splash is going to come because those free agents are serious.
When does LeBron win a championship in LA?
Well, I think a lot of that's conducive to who they bring on board. But the thing I do like about the way they're building is they're trying to do something different. So, yeah, you're going to need a couple more All-Stars, right?
Yeah.
But the pieces that Rob is building, Pelinka and Magic, are all versatile, multi-dimensional player pieces, right? So this game anymore where you see somebody who's just a defender or somebody who's just a shooter is no longer going to exist in the NBA. The game is transcending to you have to be a versatile player. You have to be able to dribble, shoot, pass, rebound, defend, all the above. So when you look at Brandon Ingram, yes, he's still growing. He can do all those things. Kyle Kuzma can do all those things. Lonzo Ball, not too sure. Not too sure, which could lend to him being traded. Right.
Yeah.
So look at those pieces when you play against the Warriors or when you play against Houston. You need those type of pieces to be able to beat those guys, because if you don't have somebody who is defensively minded, he's going to be exposed on the offensive end. If you don't have somebody who can do all these things on the offensive end, he will be exposed by the other team defensively. So you need all those tools.
Who that was drafted this year are you going to keep an eye on? Like, who do you really like that came in?
I love the kid Colin Sexton who went to Cleveland. I think he's really, really good. I would love to see him and LeBron play together. But
He wanted that too.
He wanted that, but he didn't know what came along with that.
Yeah.
It's like, you little kid, like, I want to get on the ride until you get on the ride.
Yeah.
Right. So for him, I think the best thing that could have ever happened to him is that LeBron is no longer there, because now there's not this. You come into the league and there's pressure on you to win. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think people recognize that last year for all these teams. Like, and I know J.R. Smith for a long time. First off, you're going against Golden State. They're going to start 5 All-Stars this year when Boogie Cousins comes back, which is stupid. All right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They have 4 All-Stars on their team.
That's crazy.
So now I'm saying you're a J.R. Smith. You're making good money. You're doing it. But the amount of pressure that is going to be on all these kids, like here. So like Lonzo, yeah, okay, you had your thing with the reality show in L.A. and I understand that. Your dad and Kyle's been, jabbing people and they go back and forth about Nas and all this other stuff. That's great. But now we're talking about it extra layers deep.
Yeah,
now you go out and you're caught on TMZ and you're doing something you're not supposed to. What's wrong with the Lakers? Does LeBron have a hold on the Lakers? Is he really the leader? Does he know what the young kids are doing? Think about all the storylines that will come out of thin air, out of nowhere, because LeBron's here. That's what he does. It's the LeBron James effect. That pressure is skyrocketed. How are these young pups going to handle that?
How important is, like, we always talk about, like, just even here at work, and how important a good vibe is and good energy is in the locker room. What is poison, or what can poison a team inside the locker room?
Y'all had poison on this team like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Y'all forgot D'Angelo Russell real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that part.
Natalia has a great story from the end. Hold on.
Can't stand him. I can't stand him. He was so rude. I was asking for an interview. I even did like the please. It was like a red carpet. No one was asking to talk to him. Nobody. And we're here in LA. And so, I was calling his name and he looked at me and he goes,
He looked at you and did that?
and kept on walking. And I was like, forever, you are done. Done. I was, and then the worst part was like,
I
no
think
one
we
was
X'd him
looking
out of the show
for
too.
you.
We're like, nope, never stepping foot in here.
I
No one
was
does
so
that to our
happy when
girl.
he left the Lakers. I was like, bye.
So yes, there are
Really?
cancers. And when stuff like that, when stuff that's supposed to be kept in the locker room comes out, especially when you affect somebody's relationship, like that's next level.
Yeah.
That's where you have like this issue back in the day with Jarvis Creighton and gambling and money and guns and with the Washington Wizards. Yeah, man, that stuff can escalate out of control quick.
Damn, I got to ask you one last question about Kawhi. Do you
Ask me
think
anything you want,
is
man.
Kawhi going to be the highest paid NBA player next season?
He'll be up there.
Yeah.
He'll be close. But I'm trying to prepare the rest of the world. Y'all haven't seen money yet. Because one day when Netflix, Amazon, or Apple decide to play in the sports live rights space, the money's going to be exponentially bigger than what it is today.
Wow.
Bigger.
Think about
How far? Yeah, that's crazy. How far do you
if
see
dude's
that
making
happening?
$25, $26 million you should see me when I go and I work out. I'm like, yo, I need to get back on the court. If I average 7 points, I can make $45 million over 2 years.
Yeah.
Like that's what the numbers are escalating to.
That is
so
ridiculous.
if you have, and the numbers are, think about it. Like when do you actually watch TV? Like you either watch something on demand,
Yeah.
right? Or it's
streaming.
a live sporting event.
Yep.
You want to stream it. So if you're a Lakers fan and all of a sudden now you guys are in the playoffs and now you have a chance to win and it's 5 years from now and you're seeing this bubble just tighten up about what you watch live anymore because you're not really watching the news live anymore. You get news whenever you want, right? Unless you're just watching highlights to catch up on the game. But when it's a big game, you want a viewing party, like that's going to be worth a lot of money. And you look at Amazon and where they're going and companies and obviously YouTube being the primary focus of this whole thing. Like that's where it's going. That's where we're watching everything now.
Wow.
That's crazy. Who's winning the championship next year?
I've already said it. People think I'm crazy. I
heard this.
I love the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
They were
I do.
so close.
Well, it's easy for me. It's easy for everybody out there to say Golden State, but I don't want to be like y'all. I don't want to be easy and just go in and give the championship to somebody. Like so, when I look at the Celtics, so they didn't have Kyrie, they didn't have Gordon Hayward, and they took Cleveland to Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. I said it all the time. I think Jason Tatum, once again, versatile pieces that can do all the above. So Jason Tatum can defend. He's light years beyond his age as far as the way he plays. Jaylen Brown is 6'8". He's a really good defender on a guy like a Kevin Durant. Nobody can stop Kevin Durant, but they can hinder him to a certain degree. You bring back Kyrie. You bring back Gordon Hayward. You have a guy like Scary Terry Rozier, who's a defensive-minded guard. You have bigs that can pound and bang with DeMarcus Cousins. They have all the pieces to beat Golden State. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Will it happen? I'm not sure, but if there's one team that can do it, I will bet a lot of money on Boston.
Is there another team that people aren't looking at that could surprise a lot of people?
Denver out here in the West. I think Denver has done all the right things. They signed a multitude of their players back. Will Barton is one of the X factors on that team because of what he brings with that kind of dog mentality from Baltimore, the way they play. Jokic is great. They signed him for a big-time deal. He's a new age big man in this game. And I think they have one of the most underrated backcourts there is in the nation. When you think about Jamal Murray, I think he deserves a lot more credit. I love the way this team plays.
James Harden, the Houston Rockets, man. Do you think...
The beard.
Yeah, the beard. Did he deserve the NBA MVP this year?
I came out and I said that this is by default. I think what happens is when you see somebody, when you guys come in and you kill it, right? All of a sudden, people expect you to kill it. That becomes your bar, right? Like I've listened to you guys before. When you have an off day, it's like, damn, they're having an off day. That never happens.
Yeah,
that never happens, right? So the bar is set so high. So when you watch LeBron and you watch the numbers that he puts up, and you watch the games that he didn't miss, his numbers are better than James Harden's numbers. Now, James Harden is playing with CP3.
Yeah,
he's playing in a different style and tempo. And you look at LeBron's pieces that he has. Like, you can make a case for LeBron being an MVP every single year that he plays. But his numbers become marginalized because you see it every day. Yeah. So you see him give triple doubles. You see him do all this stuff. Yeah. You're like, oh, well, it's LeBron. And then somebody else has a good year. Well, we have to share. Once again, we live in that age, though. Everybody wins a trophy. Everybody wins it.
Participation.
All day long. So I thought LeBron should have won it. But, much love to James Harden. He's had a hell of a year. He deserves it.
Jay Williams, thank you so much for being in the neighborhood.
Much respect.
Again, go watch Best Shot on YouTube on the NBA channel. It is very, very good. I really, really loved it. I only saw 3 episodes, so I'm excited to continue to watch it. But thank you again for being in the neighborhood. Jay Williams, Big Boy's Neighborhood.
Big Boy.